everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever the case might be for you. I know that we are truly an international crowd here tonight. I was just scrolling through the chat box to see that. I'm Alex, and on behalf of the Mind Valley team, I would like to welcome you to the Energy Medicine Live Q&A coaching call number 1 for this batch with our wonderful coaches from the Energy Medicine faculty, Deborah and Kelmy. We have a great session prepared for you today. We have several pre-submitted questions that we will start off first, belonging to modules 1, 2, and 3. And I believe that you will get a lot of great insights from this session. So we'll start with these pre-submitted questions that students that cannot participate send in, and alternate between the ones coming in now and the ones that were already submitted. That being said, and without further ado, let's welcome our wonderful coaches from the Energy Medicine faculty, Deborah and Kelmy. Hello.
Hello.
Wonderful. So let's get started. And I'll start off with the first question from Suzanne. I was wondering, how does yoga or qigong or similar practices go with energy medicine? Can you do yoga right after energy medicine, for example?
Absolutely.
Yes.
They go together great.
Yoga and qigong and energy medicine all work on getting the energy to flow and to make space for the energy. So they're really different expressions of the same intent to move the energy and get it to flow and return to balance.
That was a pretty wonderful, straightforward answer. Okay, next question comes from Roya. You said that there are times that we need to activate triple wormer, like when we are having an asthma attack. But how to activate triple wormer and how to know if it is time to activate it or sedate it?
Most of the time in our world today, you need to sedate it. It's generally overcharged. There are times like when you want to especially need to live, you know, like you're maybe going to encounter anaphylactic shock or an asthma attack or something where you just need that little burst of adrenaline to get through. That's would be the kind of time that you would strengthen triple wormer, especially without knowing how to test it.
Third question comes from Flavia. I'm repeating module 3 at this point. It's been 4 weeks already, and I'm actually not finding any relief. I feel tired all the time, and I have digestion and sleep issues. What else can I do? I'm faithful to the program. I practice every day. What am I doing wrong?
You're not doing anything wrong. It's simply that sometimes it takes time for the habits and the energy to be retrained by the repetition of the exercises over time. If you're still feeling a lot of fatigue, it could be that your adrenals are pretty tired. So just take it slowly. Make sure you're getting plenty of water. Sleep is, I saw there were a lot of questions about sleep. And sleep is often considered to be ruled by heart, small intestine, and liver, especially if you have a lot of dream-disturbed sleep. So you know how to use the neurolymphatic points. You can use those for heart, small intestine, or liver. You will find out in, I believe it's class 4 about substance testing. So you can check to make sure that you're not reacting to some of the foods that you're eating. That'll be a big help also.
The one thing I want to add is make sure that you are getting your energies crossing over, because something in your question made me think that your energies are running homolateral. So beyond that crossover shoulder pull, you want to either do the homolateral repatterning or do that figure 8 around the eyes. I've posted that a few times now in the group. After you do your thumbs, before you do your cross crawl, do that around your eyes, then do a nice cross crawl. Make sure too, when you're crossing over, that you're not crossing down low, because the cross really does happen in the optic chiasm behind here in our behind our eyes. So if the crossing happens in front of your eyes, you're going to get that brain body crossover connection helping a little more. So yeah. Anytime I think low energy, I think homolateral.
From Liz. Is there a right direction when doing figure 8s?
No. Nope. You can go any which way you want. And that's it.
Every direction.
So basically, because I know that these type of questions, this particular answer is also in the course. But what do you think, why do people ask this question? Because, for example, I believe that it might think that there is something that's going to go wrong if they do it in a particular way.
Exactly, and people want to get it exactly right. And the one thing I would love to stress is that this isn't all about precision at all. And intention will always trump precision in this work, always. Yeah, and to do something more lighthearted with a smile on your face, you're going to do better doing that sloppily than doing it all perfect and exact. I know, which kind of goes against everything, which goes against that need to do it exactly right. So sorry, but it's true. Just have fun, be silly. It's silly stuff. A lot of it looks silly. So allow yourself to be silly. And you don't have to be perfect.
Okay, wonderful. Next question comes from, let's see here, Triona. I would like to know which meridians are the most useful to work on to help with sleep.
I would say heart, small intestine, and liver would be my top three.
And triple warmer, I would say, definitely. Yeah. A quality of sleep for sure. Yeah, but I mean, to really know exactly what's off with somebody's sleep, we would have to energy test to find out what's going on. And unfortunately, there isn't always a one-size-fits-all formula with different issues that people have.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I've seen also in the questions that were submitted that there are a lot of questions about sleep for particular. Even the next question that I have on my list is about this one. I will also remind you that we talked about sleep. So even in the module 2 Q&A, if you go there at the end, question 18, if I'm not mistaken, is also about sleep. There's going to be in module 4, the upcoming module is going to be also another element on sleep. We'll answer another question now again on sleep. So the next question comes from Jenny. I have found I have difficulty sleeping after practicing some of this energy work. Are there practices specific to reducing energy and setting conditions for relaxation in deep sleep?
Definitely. And it's not, I would say, and I've seen a lot of people asking this on the Facebook group about doing the routine multiple times a day. I don't do it like within a couple hours before I'm going to go to bed because it is pretty stimulating to do the entire DER. I might do other things at bedtime. You know, I might do a triple warmer smoothie. That really calms down the energies. The taking down the flame, and I've posted that video a couple times. That also brings our energy down. Spooning the feet. All of these things sort of help to ground us and kind of settle. So it's not always just about the meridians. You know, remember, we're working with 9 different systems. So there's other things that we can do to just sort of settle our energies at the end of the day. But one thing I wouldn't do is get going with the whole DER and maybe tracing meridians and getting all going, because that, I mean, it's called the energy routine for a reason. It gives you energy.
And I would also say something that really contributes to that as well. If you don't have it memorized yet and you have to watch the computer at night, get off your computer. You know, if you're having sleep problems, you should not be on your computer after 6 p.m.
How many people here, raise your hands if you're past 6 p.m. We got people from all over the world.
I know. Even we're past 6 p.m.
Oh yeah, I know. On a computer.
And some of us are at 4 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So what Deborah said is actually wonderful. So I decided also to chip into this particular sleep situation. So for me, particular sleep is very, very, very important because I do deal with a lot of time zones like it's happening now. So I had to optimize for sleep efficiency. I also do a lot of traveling every month. So I'm going to really blast through my list of top tips for sleep. I'm not going to go into the science behind each of these steps, but I did have to optimize my day for sleeping. So basically the first thing that I do, it's a brief exercise in the morning. This is normally just maximum 5 minutes just to get the heart rate pumping up. Tip number 2 would be stay hydrated throughout the day. 1.5 liters of water, or the equivalent of 6 to 8 big glasses of water. Water is very, very important for a functioning body. Number 3 is always food has to do also with sleep. So eat healthy food. Most processed food or carbs or sweets, these sweet-rich diets or carb-rich diets lead to energy crashes and a weak body in general. But technically, if you eat a lot of green leafy vegetables or good quality protein like wild salmon, grass-fed beef, healthy fats like nuts, walnuts, avocados, things like this, normally these will give the body the energy it needs. Number 4 would be exactly what Deborah said, no blue light. So 1 to 2 hours before going to bed, no computer screen, no laptops, no phones, no tablets, no nothing. This might be hard for some people, but just this one thing does affect sleep a lot. Next one would be cold or hot shower. Normally, if you do a cold shower, you will have a deeper sleep. So you will not wake up, you'll have a deeper level of sleep. And if you do a hot shower, you fall asleep faster. So technically recommended would be the cold shower. And probably you guys will be like, okay, we like this guy. He's funny till this point. This point is not funny anymore. So I, for one, do take cold showers. But if you are trying to get the experience, what is needed, one way of doing it is having your regular shower and towards the end, have like 15 or 20 or 30 seconds of a cold shower just at the end, and then go to bed. Next one is temperature in the room. Temperature in the room should be a little bit on the cool side. So if it's too hot or too cold, of course you cannot sleep, but it's better to be on the cool side. Next will be like complete darkness in the room. So blinders, no light goes in. This helps with sleep a lot. And of course, no phones or anything like this in the room. If you need an alarm, just get a regular one. So this will be like some of the like the main tips. I normally have I have another like 10 or 15 that go together with this one, but this should be pretty good to give you a good start in terms if you are facing sleep. So I just felt the need to chip in with this one because I'm just seeing it continues to come with questions about sleep. Now,
great suggestions.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Now back to our regular scheduled broadcast. Next question comes from Christina. And Christina says, we have learned so many techniques now that I get lost on what we should use and when. Should we do besides the daily energy routine, strengthening of spleen and calming of triple warmer exercise also? How do we know which one will be effective?
Repetition. You know, you'll learn the material through repetition and through experimentation and observing your own energy and how it responds to what it is that you're doing. And each of us, you know, Donna often says we're each energetically as unique as a thumbprint, as unique as a snowflake. So what works for one person will not work so well for another person. But the bottom line is the daily energy routine and daily. If you're under a huge amount of stress on a daily basis, then probably yes, triple warmer and spleen would be a good choice. But look through the skills that you've learned and see what applies to your particular situation. You know, if you're under a lot of emotional stress, then maybe you're going to want to use the frontal occipital holding a lot, or the neurovascular points. But just experiment and pay attention to what works best for your body.
Agreed.
Kelmy, would you like to add something?
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, I would say, and I would also just let go of the idea that there's anything that you should do. Do what feels good. You know, the basis for everything is going to be the daily routine. So start with doing that once a day. You know, you don't need to do it 3 times a day. Start with that and then kind of add from there and pay attention to how things make you feel. Don't add everything at once. Try 1 or 2 new things and notice.
Are there days when the daily energy routine should be avoided? For example, when having a flu, or does it always support you? I'm a bit insecure concerning the exercises for triple warmer and spleen. Should I do all of them every day to strengthen spleen or to pick my favorite?
Yes. So yes, the daily routine is going to support you no matter what. And especially when you are sick, that's a great time to do it. That's when I might do it a couple more times. As far as the triple warmer and spleen stuff, no, do not try everything at once. That is a great way to piss off your triple warmer. So instead, just try one. Notice how it makes you feel. Maybe the next day, try another. I wouldn't do more than 1 or 2 right away and all at once. I would just kind of experiment with them. And like we were saying in the previous question, you know, give it a little time, see how it settles, see how it, notice how it makes you feel. And you're going to find some that you really like and others that you might not love. So pay attention to that.
I want to know how I can use what I have learned so far to improve my immune system and metabolism. Have been on a healthy program for months and I am stuck not losing weight and catching colds easily.
Triple armor and spleen. Those are going to be your best bet for boosting metabolism. And as Alex said earlier, make sure you're drinking enough water. You really need to move cell trash. And the neurolymphatic reflex points are great for that too. But I would say triple armor and spleen would be my focus under those circumstances. Kelmy?
I agree, for both metabolism and immune. Those are that's what you'd want to work with. Yes.
Claudia, from Claudia, can I press the meridian sedating points or trace the meridians with clothes or shoes on?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if I was trying to get on the bottom of the foot, for K1 or something, I'd probably take my shoes off. But yeah, and Donna does it all the time. Leaves her shoes on, right, Deborah? We've seen this a million times.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our energies don't stop moving when we put our clothes on. And the idea that our bodies are solid and somehow a discrete package away from our environment is a prejudice that we need to kind of get past. Everything in the environment is penetrating the body, and the body is having a conversation with everything in the environment. Your clothes are not preventing your body from having that conversation. And probably if you're out in public, you should keep your shoes and your clothes on when you do the DER.
Okay, cool. Next question comes from, let's see here, from Karine. How often can you, or is appropriate to, calm triple warmer in a day? Is there anything else I could be doing also? I feel stressed all the time. I do not have any or very little actual stress in my life now, but my body is always on high alert. The DER is too much for me right now.
You already answered your own question right there. So you want to start slow. And I don't know what your history is, but I'm going to guess you got something going on like an autoimmune or history of trauma or something that got your triple warmer on high. And so you want to kind of ease into it. So again, same answer as I gave someone else is start with experimenting with the triple warmer exercises. I would not try everything at once. And you also kind of want to mix it up. You don't want to always go for the same thing. Like you don't want to, automatically trace triple warmer backwards every time you're stressed, because triple warmer has a wisdom to it and you can get a little backlash. So it sounds like you're already in tune with your energy. So I would say really trust it and listen to it. But there's not a specific number or time, you're unique. So whatever feels right for you, but I would really, I would give yourself time after each exercise to see how they make you feel.
Okay, I see a question that's related to the previous one. I had heard that synthetic clothes block energy. Is this true?
Not in my world.
Not in my world either. And boy, Donna loves velvet, so she would be really bummed. You know, I mean, when you learn to really energy test, you may find that certain clothes or fabrics or patterns or whatever aren't the greatest for you personally on that day. But that can really change. So it kind of moves around. Some days I can't handle a polyester shirt. Other days it's okay. So yeah, I don't think there's definitely not an absolute answer for everyone there.
Yeah.
From Annette, triple warmer sedating points. They are not clear to me. Could you please explain again where exactly they are or how to approximately press them? Is it hard? It is hard for me to press both points at the same time.
I would take the second part of the question first, in that you're not pressing, you're making contact with the point. So if you're trying to apply pressure to 2 points at once and you're having trouble with that's probably part of the problem. Really, you're just making contact with the 2 points. So the first set of points for triple warmer, I'm going to try and do this. You've got triple warmer 10, which is right in this little dip behind your elbow, right? So that's one of the points you're going to hold. The other point Here's my knee. Here's the top of my knee. Here's the little dip on the side. This is the outside of my leg. The little dip. You follow that over the little bone there into another little dip, and that's the other point. So you hold on the same side of the body, this one and this one, and I'm just making contact with the points. I'm not pressing. Then for the second set of points, right, because you'll do the first set on both sides. So the elbow point and the knee point on one side, the elbow point and the knee point on the other side. The second set of points is right here in the hand between the baby finger and the ring finger up against the knuckle. I wish I were more limber. And right where, oh gosh. I didn't think I was going to be using myself as a visual aid. I wish I'd done my toenails too. Right here at the base of the baby toe is one point. So you'll hold that with one hand and you'll hold the other points. The main thing is to make sure that you've got the points on the same side of the body. So if you're holding your right elbow, you're holding your right knee. If you're holding your right hand, you're holding your right foot. It's really easy, especially with the spleen points, to sometimes get turned around and you're holding one right point and one left point. So make sure that you're on the same side of the body. I hope that was helpful. I'd hate to think I made a complete fool of myself for nothing. Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Well, Danielle says that was awesome. I also think great flexibility exercise right before evening.
Well, I may be 61, but I still can bend. It's that energy medicine.
Let's see what people are saying here. Karine says, thank you. Irene says, that was wonderful. Very, very memorable. Yes, very true. Very true.
Hopefully not traumatic.
Okay, next question comes from Pip. What sort of magnets and where do you find magnets that are suitable to be used on the body safely? Perhaps some recommendation types or brands or anything that you consider useful.
Well, I'll just say this has come up because the magnets that Donna mentions in the class are these Radio Shack magnets. She's mentioned those, and they discontinued them right after. And so the ones that were the perfect kind of magnets are not available anymore. But you want, like, when she's talking about putting them on points, I really like the ones that don't spin around. You know, she uses round ones normally, but you can obtain great magnets from any kind of acupuncture source, like Lhasa OMS or other places like that. And you can get magnets that specifically have the North or the South Pole, and then it's already got a little Band-Aid thing on it, so you can put them on points. So there's those, or they're like the kind we use, they're little craft magnets. They're little round ceramic, weak craft magnets are the kinds that Donna is referring to when she talks about magnets in the book. So, but one last cool thing, you don't really need magnets because our hands are magnets, and that's really awesome. So the palms are south and the back of the hands are north, and by flipping our hands back and forth, you can have the exact same effect as spinning a magnet, and you won't whack anybody out. So people get really excited about magnets, and it's really fun to have toys and things, but you don't really need them. The palm is south and the back of the hand is north. So I see people asking, there was like 6 people asking that. So south, north. Palm is south, back of the hand is north. So when you're testing someone's polarity, they're generally strong with the palm down, weak with the back of the hand.
Which of Donna's books supplements this course? Or in what order should we read if there are more than one book?
Just Energy Medicine is the main book, and that supplements this course. I mean, there's a lot more. If you branched off into energy psychology, there's a province of energy psychology. If you wanted to branch, and I see a lot of people asking hormone questions, hot flashes and all that, then you might want to get the Energy Medicine for Women book. But essentially, I mean, Energy Medicine is just an amazing book. I mean, that's the classic. That's what the bulk of not just this course, but year 1 and most of year 2 of our program is based on that book.
All of these books, of course, are available on Amazon, like any good product nowadays. These guys are everywhere. Okay.
They sure are.
Okay. Just a few mention. I see also questions on pain. There is an entire module on pain coming up in the coming weeks. So we are not trying to dodge questions here, but we are trying to pick questions that are relevant to the first 3 modules of the course, because we are doing the course one by one. Okay, next question from Isabel. How long do the effects of energy medicine exercises last?
That is a question that we get a lot. And again, this idea of the body as a solid thing separate from its environment is kind of where that question comes from. We live in a state of constantly changing circumstances. And so the point of the DER, more than anything, is to build your resilience so that your capacity to meet those changing circumstances as they arise goes up. You get more capacity overall. So it's not a matter of how long will it last, it's a matter of how resilient can you be. And if you come up against something particularly stressful or a shock or a conflict, yeah, you're going to feel that, but you now have some tools to meet it and transform it so that the energy continues to move. Where we get into trouble is when the energy gets blocked, when the energy stops and gets stuck. Then we get congestion. But the DER really is a way to keep the energies moving, keep the body in that flow that it wants to be in, because it wants to heal. It wants to correct itself as circumstances change. And we're not going to be able to do away with change. So we may as well make ourselves as powerful and as full of capacity to meet it as we possibly can.
I just want to add too, and the more you train your energies with the DER, the quicker they're going to shift and the longer it's going to stay. So you're going to notice that what's true right now, it's going to be different 3 months from now. So
yeah, good point.
What about metal that's in the body, such as a knee or hip replacements? So does metal in the body affect the exercises or the outcome?
It won't affect the exercises or the outcome here in this. And if someone does have an issue with metal in their body, I mean, and it's, you know, an ongoing issue, that is something they could work with the practitioner with. So the answer that some people aren't impacted at all, other people might really notice a difference, but it's not going to in any way hamper you from doing these exercises or be a contraindication or anything like that.
And I'm sorry, were you done, Kelby?
Yes.
Okay. The more you do the exercises, the more the energy flow will move through those places where the metal is. So you'll experience less disruption.
Let's see here. Karen, so in working in a room full of computers day after day, should I be taking the time to do figure eights or other exercises?
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes. You want to do a lot of extra aura work and spooning your feet. Anything to strengthen your energy field will be beneficial to you. Yes. So the Celtic weave is a really good one. You know, you guys know that one. The Darth Vader breath, which is my personal favorite, which I've posted again on the Facebook group a few times. That will really help to strengthen your energy field. Any kind of figure eights, spooning the feet. Yeah, all of these will help to strengthen your aura and your grounding, which will help you to be able to, you know, handle that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see here from Elena. How many different exercises is it advised to do each day for this course? So daily energy routine, triple warmer, heaven and earth, etc. How many different exercises is it advised to do each day?
Each day is going to be different. You know, do your DER every day. That's why it's daily energy routine. Beyond that, it's really going to be a function of your how well you slept, how good you feel, the level of stress that you're under. We have to change our routines every single day in response to the changing circumstances of our lives. But the daily energy routine, do that every day for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Can you give us an example? Like, for example, this part seems very clear also to me. Do the daily energy routine, because the clue is in the title itself.
Yes.
But for example, what would be a scenario in a different day? Just let's come up with a scenario. What would be a scenario in a different day that will make me use multiple exercises, and what would be the order of them? Let's say.
Well, I find that on days when I feel really good, and the whole day, the time seems expansive, I'll do a lot of exercise. It's just because it feels good and I'm enjoying myself. So I'll do the daily energy routine. I'll trace my meridians. I'll probably do Darth Vader breath because I love it too. I'll trace my radiant circuits, and then just anything else that I think of that I might need. Usually on a day that I'm really feeling good and everything is expansive, I might do a spleen exercise, but I probably won't do a triple warmer exercise because the need isn't there. On another day, if I have a bad night's sleep, I'll do the daily energy routine and I'll drink a bunch of water and I'll call that good. On a stressful day, I might focus in addition on some of the triple warmer exercises. What about you, Kelmy?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yes. Let's just say, I driving to work and I almost get in a car accident. I might be holding my neurovasculars, whatever. It's like as needed. For me, like the daily routine and tracing my meridians is pretty basic. And then I'm just going to kind of add throughout the day, depending. So, what's right is what's right for you in that moment.
When doing energy medicine for a partner, how to make sure what is healed in them is not picked up by yourself?
Doing that's one of the functions of the daily routine, is to help us discharge energies. It's to protect us. The hookup helps us keep from taking too much stuff in. The aura helps to filter things for us. So really, ideally, you really want to, I would say, focus first on your own energies before you're going to think about trying to heal. So we don't heal anybody, but before you want to work on other people, really work on you and strengthen your field. And that's going to make all the difference in you not picking up other people's things. And then if you ever do feel like you've taken it on, the Darth Vader breath is really good for helping you discharge it.
Also, the blowout.
And the blowout
is also really good for discharging excess energy.
Yeah, and connecting heaven and earth.
Oh yeah, connecting heaven and earth. And also just something as simple as washing your hands before and after.
Yeah.
And especially after letting the water run on your hands and your lower arms.
Yeah. Hook up before you do it. That can help a lot too. Yeah.
How would you explain energies to people who are very skeptical, but you really want to help them? They mostly say it's only placebo.
You want to go first, Kelmy?
Well, that's really interesting, because really, if you study the placebo effect, what it shows is the body's ability to heal itself. So
absolutely.
I would start with that and really explain the placebo effect. But what is it going to hurt to try it? So I don't know. I'm going to let Deborah answer this. I don't want to spend a whole lot of energy persuading skeptics. That's just really, to me, that's not the best use of my energy.
Absolutely. When somebody expresses skepticism, I do not defend the work. The work speaks for itself. And if you do the work on yourself, what happens is you end up modeling the results. And when you model the results, everybody wants to know what you're doing. If you become like a missionary trying to convert people to energy, you're going to meet with resistance all the way around. So I would say, again, work on yourself first and just say, well, I don't know how it works. I'm experimenting and I'm trying to see, what happens. I can't explain it, but I know I feel better. And little by little, they're going to come around saying, okay, what was that thing you did when you had to take that test and it went really well because you were so calm? Because, as an abstraction, it's hard to communicate. As a practical reality of feeling better, people respond to that.
Deborah, ready for a new demonstration? I think it's that time of the session again.
No, I'm seeing all those. Yeah.
Okay. What do you want?
So this one is from Bridget. How can you sedate the stomach meridian like it is mentioned in the Q&A for module 3? So basically, how can you sedate the stomach meridian?
Using the sedating points. I can show you the points if you're talking about the sedating points. The first set of points is large intestine 1, which is the end of the index finger, and stomach 45, which is the end of the second toe. So the piggy who stayed home. So this is your first. This is your first hold. Then you're going to do that on both sides. Then the second set is going to be on the foot, right here and right here. There you have it. You can also sedate stomach by tracing it backwards. I don't think I can do that sitting down. I think that's it.
Can the exercises help with old injuries?
Absolutely. Because one of the things that makes old injuries a problem is the energy isn't moving through the area of the injury. So when you do the daily energy routine and when you trace your meridians, you get that energy to move through the old injury site, and little by little it starts to get more supple and just more alive again.
They all want to see the Darth Vader breath. I'll do it.
Okay, I saw that one also in the.
Do it, Kelly. Do it.
And I have posted the video in the group. But I wanted to actually say something about Darth Vader breath because it is absolutely my most favorite exercise. And in the video I posted it, Donna talks about how it helps to align your chakras, and it does. And it also helps to balance hormones. But what it also does, and so Donna gave me this as an exercise to do when I first came into this work, and I was so sensitive, and I was just impacted by everything in my environment and everyone in my environment and feeling it all. And so she told me that what this will do for you is this will help to weave your field with little figure eights from the inside out as well. So for me, it feels like while Celtic weave is great, it's all out here. But the Darth Vader breath feels like it helps for me to breathe, to build my strength, my core strength. So I really love it. And I also feel, I'm just giving a quick explanation, as I breathe in, I fill up with everything that's me. And then as I breathe out, anything that's not mine can just like fall away. And I do it in the shower because you'll see, it sounds really goofy. And then nobody has to ask me what I'm doing. And also the steam makes it easier. So you're just going to catch the air in the back of your throat. And you just do an inhale, and I try to keep my eyes open. It's hard to do with my eyes open, but okay. So that is the Darth Vader breath.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I also want to add, because I saw at least one comment about the vagus nerve, and the Darth Vader breath is super for the vagus nerve. Really, anything in the throat really helps to relax that vagus nerve, and Darth Vader breath is awesome for that.
Yep.
Okay, as long as we're on the Darth Vader part, let's see here from Robert. How long should you do the Darth Vader breath?
As long as you can. I mean, the more you do it, the easier it gets. When you first try to do it, you're going to start choking and coughing and go, this is a stupid exercise. That's what I'm saying. Try it in the shower. The steam will make it easier because it will. It'll catch in your throat. So as many times, as long as you can breathe it in, and then as long as you can breathe it out. I usually do at least 3 to start my day. And then I'll also do it periodically throughout the day. If I feel like I have taken on energies, or I'm trying to move some very dense energies with a client, I may do it more, but I do at least a good solid 3 to start my day.
Could you please explain more on crossing the eyes?
Does that maybe mean doing that figure 8 around the eyes? So, okay, so there's something, and it's part of the optic, not the optic nerve, but it has to do with our eyes. It's called the optic chiasm, and it's like this X that's behind the eyes. And that is where the brain-body connection happens, because the left hemisphere of our brain governs the right hemisphere of the body, or the right side of the body, and vice versa. And so that crossing happens back in here. And so that's why I'm saying a lot of times people can't get out of homolateral, but they're doing their cross crawls and it's way down here. But if you do your cross crawl a little higher, so that X is happening in front of the face, it can really make it hold better. And there's a great video that I've posted in the group with 2 of our faculty members from the certification program, talking about doing this over the eyes was more helpful for returning soldiers, because they came in and they couldn't do that homolateral repatterning. That was like marching in place. So that was re-traumatizing for them. So they thought that this would work better for them. But I find that this works better for a lot of people, actually. And it really seems to get the brain involved in the crossing over. So a lot of times when people have this deep-seated homolateral issue, doing that tracing around the eyes can just be so incredibly helpful.
Well, variations on this question also come up here. From Gina, my daughter deals with depression, but she would never be interested in doing energy medicine. Is there something I can do to help her without her knowing? This can also be framed in a general way. Can you help the ones that don't want to be helped?
Now we're in ethical territory, because one of the things that I always tell students is that one of the primary goals of energy medicine is to honor choice, and to honor that everyone has a choice, and the choice to do nothing is also a choice. And as a practitioner, I can tell you that that is the hardest choice to honor. And at the same time, to work on someone without their knowledge, to work on someone against their will, you're interfering with their free will, possibly with their fate. Now, a parent and a child, if it's a young child, that's a slightly different situation, because as parents of young children, we are charged with the care of our children in the best way we see fit. So this is a really tough one. So I would say it depends on the age of the child, and the parent is not always the right person to be in charge of the care of a child, especially as they pass puberty. Sometimes finding a mentor who's either in the family or a relative, but not the primary caregiver, can be a lot better. Kelmy, how would you?
I just want to say also too, it's amazing how when we balance our own energies and get really kind of even with ourselves, we might not find that need to fix other people quite as much, because we won't be reacting to them in the same way. So the only thing you really can fix is you and your own reaction and responses. So the more balanced you are, that's just going to help spread. They're going to have more balanced interactions with you because of your balance. So spread that. Again, like model this behavior. It makes a big difference. But yeah, I would definitely caution against working on anybody without their permission or thinking that we know what they need.
We have around 5 more minutes for this session. Maybe we can also go like 5 more minutes extra. I see a lot of questions here. Let's do a couple of these ones that seem to be really fast to answer. So it's like a lightning round. Let's see. From Amena, does wearing gold on your body help with energy healing?
Doesn't for me. So, it's going to be very individual.
Okay.
Yeah, it really depends. Test it.
Do the figure 8. I'm pretty sure this is the question. Can you do the figure 8 work on a blind person?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe they mean around the eyes. I don't know, but yeah, it'd be great.
Let's see here. Can you do the hookup for someone else who is feeling dizzy?
If they'll let you. You want to ask permission unless they're unconscious. If someone is unconscious or going into seizure, I mean, that can stop a seizure. That would be a time when I wouldn't ask, but otherwise, yeah, always ask before you put your finger in someone else's belly button.
I see here several questions on this issue. What about amputee parts of the body? So this seems a bit vague, but I'm pretty sure I can deduce this. What if you have missing parts? Or I remember from previous sessions, like for example, a removed organ. So how do you sedate, or how do you work with the amputee parts of the body?
As if they're still there. There's a beautiful story in the book Energy Medicine where Donna talks about working with an amputee and the incredible relief that this young man got from her holding the sedating points where his foot would have been if he still had it. Because again, when the solid parts go, the energy's still here. If you have your spleen removed, you still have a spleen meridian. You still have the energy field within which your spleen grew. Same for a uterus, same for ovaries, same for gallbladder, same for teeth, same for any body part you can mention that can be removed. The energy isn't removed. The organizing field of the solid material hasn't been removed. So you can do all of the energy work on the body, just where the solid parts were. Kelly, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I just want to agree with that. I once dated a guy who was missing the ends of like 3 fingers, and he had chronic phantom limb pain, and we tried it and it worked. Yeah, so try it.
Let's see here. Do long fingernails make any difference in tapping points?
Only for the person being tapped.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great answer.
Mine are really short because if I'm going to rub somebody's neurolymphatics, I do not want my fingernail going into their flesh.
Yeah.
Okay. On the hookup, are you pressing directly on the belly button or a little higher up?
In the belly button. Full on in the belly button. That's why I was like, it's a little personal. So yeah, in the belly button, and then here, and then slight pull up.
Is working on a higher floor. So for example, the ones that work in office buildings, it's working on a higher floor, 20th and above, affect your grounding?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you may want to work extra with grounding. You may find that you need to spoon your feet more frequently. You may find that you need to do a couple extra exercises. That's something where, okay, if I'm working on a high floor, maybe I am going to add some extra grounding exercises to my routine. You know, you'll probably notice, you know, pay attention. You'll probably notice how you feel when you don't, as opposed to how you do. You'll know how often to do it. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely can get yourself grounded. It just may take a little bit more effort.
Yeah. Exactly.
I see it also several times here. What is best to use before and following a long flight? So from an energy perspective, how do you deal with flights? I'm pretty sure that the question is related to some form of jet lag.
Well, to deal with jet lag, and we haven't gotten into really learning how to trace the meridians. That's coming up, I think, in chapter 6. But once you learn to trace the meridians, it's really helpful. I mean, you do the DER, you do your thumps, and then you trace your meridians for the time, for the place that you're going to, you know, ahead before you're there. So maybe a couple times on the plane, you'll trace your meridians for that time zone that you're getting to, and then you'll do it again when you get there. So that's basically it. And I think it gets covered a little bit in chapter 6. And it is in the energy medicine book as well. And you can also just like tap the ends of the fingers and toes. The meridian endpoints can help to pick it up. But I think it really works better if you do the whole tracing the meridians, which by the way is great for the time change too, which hopefully they'll abolish one of these days. But people that are still struggling with the daylight savings, if before, you know, a week or so before the time changes, you start tracing meridians for the new time, it can make it a whole lot easier to deal with that change.
And I would also say, along with the tracing of the meridians for jet lag, absolutely hydrate yourself.
Oh yeah.
you get so dehydrated in an airplane, and that makes everything more difficult. So trace your meridians for the new time. You've got the meridian flow wheel, so you know what the times are and what meridian follows the next one. So you can work with that, and just make sure you get plenty of water.
Yes, very true here. I'm also a frequent flyer, so I never have jet lag ever. So
Me either.
one of the elements that I do is also with one day before I start having my main meals of the day in the time zone of the other country. So for example,
Yes.
let's say I travel back, I'll have my breakfast. Normally what I have at breakfast, I can even have it at 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., something like this, just in order to fit the other country schedule. So basically you are teaching your body to already activate in the other time zone. Another thing I do is also I try to wake up and go to bed with one day before in the time of the country or the time zone that I am going there. So for example, I can also end up in that particular country and I feel dead exhausted, let's say, but I will not go to bed unless it's around 10 p.m. in that time zone, in order to just, and that normally triggers my my body's functioning levels automatically, like from day on in the other country. I think maybe one or two more, because we cannot get to all of these questions, guys. I'm seeing we answered around 30 to 40 questions already, and we have another 41 in the queue. So,
oh my gosh.
One of the good things is that you show a lot of interest for this material, so that's wonderful to see. I do see many questions that I would like to remind you, please do check the material. Because most of these questions, I know that they are in the material, or they are already answered in the Q&A, or it's coming up next in the following modules and Q&As. This from Pat: is sickness a response to energy being disturbed? And if so, what would be a course of action?
Sickness is often a response to either something to which you're not habituated, something upsets your interior habits, and very often sickness is an expression of the wisdom of the body. I was reading something recently that was saying if you don't get sick at regular intervals, your immune system misses out on an opportunity to update its understanding of what's happening in the microbial world. So sickness is not an anomaly. It's just part of the life of a body. It's part of the life of an ecosystem. It's part of the creativity of aliveness. Kelmy, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, and I would say, and then I'm wondering, are they mean like a deeper chronic illness? Yeah, that can be. That can be due to an imbalance of energies over a period of time. Yes. I feel like we got to say something about autoimmune for these guys.
Oh yeah.
I see another one jumping up. I have noticed we're not ignoring you on autoimmune. I promise. Autoimmune.
Yep, go for it.
So, and I've posted this again in the Facebook group a few times, but I'll do it again. So autoimmune, the main thing is the DER. I know we keep going back to that, but that really is the foundation of it all. It's making sure your energies are crossing over, because if you've have an autoimmune issue, you're likely homolateral. And it's also working with triple warmer and spleen balance, because that has everything to do with homolateral. And then I've seen a few questions saying, does it mean I have a grid out? Not always, but yeah, often. I mean, that often can be. But I just want to say, so we can end this on a positive note too, about autoimmune, because anyone who's dealt with autoimmune with Western medicine knows there's not a whole lot. In energy medicine, I know dozens of people who have healed their autoimmune issues using energy medicine. And I'm one of them. When I got into this work, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I was told that I could maybe work 3 hours a week if I did that work in a recliner chair. I mean, that's where I was at when I got into this. And I do not have those symptoms anymore. I do not consider myself to even have fibromyalgia anymore. So you really can get somewhere, but I want to say you want to be patient. You want to go slow. Don't overdo it. A little goes a long way, but really focus on getting your energies crossing over and your triple warmer and spleen balance, in addition to the daily routine. Do you agree with anything Deborah, anything you want to add?
Absolutely. The only thing I would add to that is, this is a really, really big subject, and we really can't do justice to it in just a couple minute answer, which is why we kind of put it off, because it's a huge conversation. But I would say, in addition to what Kelmy has said, also working on grounding, because your body doesn't function well when it's separate from the life-sustaining forces of heaven and earth. And when I say heaven, I'm not using it in a religious sense, but in the sense of the electromagnetics of the sky and the relations of the planets and the energy from the stars and from the sun that we absorb through our bodies. And this constant flow of energy between heaven and earth through us is actually a big part of what maintains homeostasis. The body doesn't do it on its own. It does it as part of this larger flow. So if you're dealing with autoimmunity, getting back into that big flow of energy helps to reteach your body what is you and what is not you, and can be very, very helpful in, I've known people that just getting grounded got them out of bed.
We are going to wrap up. I'm just going to ask the last question that came here on a very positive note. But before that, if you have any feedback for us or testimonials or words of appreciation for these two wonderful ladies that took the time and also did a lot of bendy exercises in order to show all of the meridian points, please do let us know in the chat box and the QA and the Q&A feature, and we will collect all of these after the session. So the last question that came is a personal one. How long have you been practicing energy medicine for, and what are the results you have seen in your life?
I began studying with Donna in 2003, and so 15 years. And at that time, like I said, I was disabled. I was really sick. I was a single mom and looking at not being able to ever work again. And so I've seen my own health go from, disabled to fully functional. I mean, I guess that's debatable, but no, I'm very functional. I actually have more energy now than I did then. So, I'm 50 and I have more energy now than I did at 35. And I think that's amazing. And I feel healthier now than I did. And me and Deborah and everyone I know in energy medicine actually looks younger than they did 15 years ago too. So, there is that. But I know literally dozens of people that have healed themselves with autoimmune and other things. And that's what hundreds really, counting all the students. So I just love it. It works.
I started with Touch for Health in 1985, and then had the good fortune to meet Donna here in Ashland, Oregon, where she was living at the time, in 1986, when I was pregnant with my second child. The story she tells every time she introduces me. It's very sweet. So I've been at this for a really long time, and I feel like I am moving into my later years in a space that, given the incredible genetic heritage I have on both sides of my family, it would have been unheard of 20 years ago if I hadn't been doing this work. So I credit my continued good health to EEM.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing. I was also reading through the thank you messages here that you can also see in the chat box. I saw one that I like to thank you, dear panelists, for the very clear answers. So I'm guessing that we did a very good job in this aspect. So thank you very much. So that being said, thank you very, very much for your engagement. Thank you for your wonderful stories and for sharing your personal experience with us in this Q&A. And thank you everyone for your participation and your engagement and the level of enthusiasm and curiosity, most of all, judging by the question that you show for this material. That's all from us for this session. Thank you very much, and see you on our next live call. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.